Hello there everyone, welcome back to Jack Talk Stars, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the finale of Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Now, before we get into the video, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do if you want to stay up to date with all my new content that's going to be coming out over the next few weeks. So I'm going to have lots of different things coming out, and now that Mandalorian Season 2 is over, we've got a free slot on Saturdays for something else to take over for until the next season comes out, so about a year. But anyway, I wanted to, instead of doing an explained, I feel like this episode just constitutes more of a discussion and just talk about the episode. So, you know, we start off with them, the crew, taking a Lambda class shuttle that has Dr. Pershing in it, and we were right in thinking that he was a cloning engineer, and this initially got me thinking maybe we were going to go to a specific planet, but as we later see, we just stay up in space, so they don't go with the idea of going to a planet of any sort. We just go, you know, in space. Then we go ahead and pick up Bo-Katan, and we start to see a bit of tension between, especially with Boba Fett, because she calls him clone. Django says that the armor belonged to his father. She's your donor. She is one of the people who doesn't like Boba Fett, and similar to how the Prime Minister of Mandalore in the Clone Wars, he said that Django was a pretender, if I remember correctly, and that he stole the armor, but we actually found out in this season that he didn't. He was given it. Now, this could be kind of to tie in with where possibly Season 3 could be going, because as we'll get to in a bit here, I think that it's setting up for Bo-Katan to maybe not be the friendliest of people towards Mando, and, well, Boba probably won't be showing up anymore in the next season as well, and we'll get into that in a minute. So they recruit Bo-Katan and Cosco Reeves, and then they head for Moff Gideon's cruiser, hatching a plan. They're gonna pretend that they're under attack using the Lambda class shuttle to get onto the cruiser, and then Mando will, he'll slowly get on with Boba, causing the distraction of, hey, I'm chasing the ship. So they get onto the ship, and once they realize that they're getting boarded by enemy forces, Moff Gideon gets the Dark Troopers engaged. Now, I really enjoyed the use of music for the Dark Troopers, going with a sort of dark techno, almost dubstep type sound, which kind of really matches well with just the aesthetic of them in general. And it's something I don't think we've ever heard in Star Wars, but there's a lot of things we haven't heard in Star Wars coming from Mandalorian, and it does fit, I think. And we did get confirmation that they are Phase 3 Dark Troopers as well later in the episode. So Mando goes looking for Grogu, whilst the others are, taking out stormtroopers and getting to the bridge. And Mando comes across the Dark Troopers, managing to close them off, but one got through. And we sort of see how strong these Dark Troopers are against someone who doesn't really know how to defeat them, or doesn't have maybe necessarily the weapons to do that. Because if Mando didn't have Beskar armor, he'd be dead. He'd be very, very dead. And he only just takes out this one Dark Trooper, so, against all of them, he would probably have been done for. Because the Beskar can only help for so long, and the Beskar spear was what he used to actually defeat the one Dark Trooper. Now, when Mando gets to Grogu's cell, he sees that Moff Gideon is already there. Now, Moff Gideon again proves himself to, well, pretending to be reasonable. And because of the way he acted in Season 1, this seems pretty in line with his character, saying he's already got what he wants from the kid. He hasn't. Well, he might have got what he wants, but we don't know what for. So I think we're going to continue with that storyline as well in the next season of Moff Gideon's doing. Perhaps. We'll see, though. But he tries to turn on Mando, and they have the fight that we all expected, where Mando uses the Beskar spear, and Moff Gideon uses the Darksaber, and Mando comes out on top. Now, technically, this now means if Moff Gideon won the Darksaber by defeating Bo-Katan, or someone else defeated Bo-Katan and then he defeated them, then this now means that Mando is the rightful ruler of Mandalore. And Moff Gideon brings this up and starts almost teasing Bo-Katan, because Mando doesn't really care. He doesn't care about this, so he's willing to just give Bo-Katan the saber, but she can't take it because she's very strict in her rules, and she's very, she's not going to just take it, because she believes in her mind that she can't just take it. So now I think this is laying seeds for where season 3 could go, with contention between Mando now technically being the rightful ruler of Mandalore and Bo-Katan wanting to rule Mandalore, because Mando doesn't want to fight, he just wants to give Bo-Katan the saber, but Bo-Katan would need to defeat Mando to actually wield it and have the true power of it, because the power is, as Moff Gideon says, the power isn't real, it's an idea, a belief. So I think that's where we could be going as one sort of storyline for the next season, because we then see the Dark Troopers, they begin coming back, because obviously they're droids, they don't die in space, and then they come back, and we're locked up in the bridge here, and pretty much the Dark Troopers are about to break in until another signal comes on the radar, and we see an X-Wing come past. Now at this point, I instantly knew who it was, because who else could it have been in an X-Wing, Who else is going to fly an X-Wing in? And then we get just some of the best Star Wars I've seen in so long, where Luke Skywalker enters. He's tearing down Dark Trooper after Dark Trooper. After Mando was struggling with one, Luke is just cutting through so many of them. He's just cutting through them like they are nothing. And this is the sort of thing that people who really, really did not enjoy how Luke was portrayed in the sequels, I am sure they are extremely happy right now, because this is what people wanted from Luke. They wanted to see Luke at his full potential, and this is it. This is Luke at his most powerful. A few years after Return of the Jedi, Luke he's very strong at this point, and they just made him look great. They made him look like just an unstoppable force. And in a nice sort of callback, we get sort of the opposite of Darth Vader's corridor scene, where instead of its rebel troopers, they hear the Darth Vader's breathing. They hear, he then ignites the lightsaber and just mows through them all. Instead, this time we've got Dark Troopers waiting for an elevator to open, and when the elevator opens, Luke is there and he just tears through them all. Brilliant callback to Rogue One right there. So then, obviously, Luke comes in, he takes off his cloak, and there he is. Now, I assume the way they did this was deepfake, because the emotions aren't quite there, like the eyes don't really move too much, and the mouth is fairly static, so I'm assuming it's a deepfake. Similar to how they did Luke and Leia in Rise of Skywalker, that kind of technology. Same with Leia in Rogue One. I think it looked good nonetheless. Like, you can nitpick it all you want, but I think it looked great. This is a TV show. This isn't a fucking movie. This is a TV show. And then we get Grogu leaving. So Grogu, we know that Luke, he called out to someone, that someone being Luke. Now Luke, we know that this time he's trying to create a new Jedi Order, and so he comes to get Grogu to have him join his order. Now, Grogu leaving the show is big. It's really big because it's one of the reasons a lot of people really instantly got drawn to the show was for Grogu, and now he's gone. So whether Mando will see him again, I don't know. Maybe Grogu does enough training that he's safe and then leaves, but I don't know. It's going to be weird not having him around for next season and just having Mando. It makes me think we could maybe go down a more serious path. Not like it's not been serious before in this show, but we could maybe go down it might go down a more serious path without the levity of Grogu all the time. But a really beautiful moment where Grogu, he reaches for Din's mask and he takes it off for him. And he lets Grogu see his face. And this is, we knew that he's been starting to let up on taking his helmet off because the droid did it. He was like, okay, well, the droid's not living, so that's fine. And then for the kid, he took the helmet off in the last episode, and now this episode, again, he shows the kid his face because Grogu's never seen his face. He's never seen the face of basically his father figure, and it's just a beautiful way to have them say goodbye to each other, in that now Grogu knows what he looks like, and he can remember him like that instead of just a mask, because there's lots of Mando masks, and then we get R2 shows up. I mean, in theory, R2 and Grogu maybe know each other. Maybe not like know each other, but they, maybe R2 would have seen Grogu before. And they seem like they're gonna be good friends anyway, even if they didn't. But they might have seen each other already, because Grogu was trained at the temple and R2 was at the temple with Anakin, so there's a good chance they might know each other. And that might be why R2's, excited. So then, they leave. Grogu looks back at his papa. Din, he's sad that Grogu's leaving, but he knows it's the right thing for Grogu. And it just leaves us with the next season. The opportunities are blown wide open because it ends right there. So I think the next season we're going to go into I think we're going to go towards maybe a Mandalore arc of who is the rightful ruler of Mandalore. Because other than that, unless something new gets brought up, we've almost finished with the whole Grogu arc, because he's gone off now to do his training, and Moff Gideon has been captured. So unless somehow we get a tie-in with, because we didn't get any sign of Thrawn, so I think that means then that Thrawn is gonna be sort of exclusively in the Ahsoka show, right? So we're not going to get that in Mando Season 3, I don't think, unless they tie it in heavily with the Ahsoka show, which takes place during the events of Mandalorian. So I'm kind of stumped as to where we go, because there's so many things that could just happen, because this whole thing wouldn't happen if Mando didn't take one bounty hunting job, right? He wouldn't have found Grogu. Simple. That's it. And the whole thing wouldn't happen. So there's so many possibilities they could do, and I'm glad that they can do something fresh instead of every episode being they have to keep running away because of people hunting down Grogu, and Grogu's safe now, at least as safe as he can be, in that he's with probably the most powerful Jedi at the moment, Luke. So I'm really excited where the show can go, but I'm also very excited about what seems to be a Boba Fett show. That they did an end credit scene, which they don't usually do, and we go to Tatooine. We see the Twin Suns. We see Jabba's palace, which we haven't seen in God knows how long. And then on on Jabba's throne, well, it's like a new throne. Jabba really didn't have a throne, but we see Bib Fortuna is there, and Bib Fortuna has gotten fat because, well, he's probably just chilling on the throne. But I thought that was funny that they had Bib Fortuna there. And then, you know, gunshots, you think, who could this be? Are they teasing something new? Is it going to be a character for season 3? Instead, we have Fennec and Boba show up. Obviously, they know who Boba is, you know. He was there before he worked for Jabba. Now, Boba kills Bib Fortuna and takes his seat. So does this mean now that Boba is like in charge of all the bounty hunters in Tatooine or whatever? You know, and we get the confirmation, the what was it called? The Book of Boba Fett. So is it just a book or is it a show? Because I'm hearing that it's a show, right? And because they hadn't shown anything at Disney Investors Day, and I assumed that was so that you don't get spoiled for this episode, where it would be like, oh well, if he's got something coming out, that means he probably doesn't die in the episode, so they wanted to keep that open. But yeah, I'm really excited for what we're gonna do here. There's so much stuff we can do. We've got so many shows coming out, and we've got shows that are all going to tie in. We've got shows in different eras. We've got all kinds of stuff coming out, and I'm super ready for it all. So yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I think I've about said everything that I have on my mind right now. Yeah, if you enjoyed it, leave a like, comment down below what your favorite episode of this season was. I think most people, it's going to be this one because of just Luke showing up. That's just crazy. I think this is my favorite one. Episode 5 is close, but this one is just top tier. I loved it. And did you enjoy season 2 more than 1? I think most people, again, yes is the answer. So yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.